Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. Big changes in the tiny hothouse, and it is tiny, of cable news this evening. CNN's top-rated anchor, Chris Cuomo, has been pulled off the air, likely for good. You'll probably never see him on camera again. For us here at Fox, it feels like the end of something. Like most Americans, we never actually watched the Chris Cuomo show, assuming that was its name. But over the years, we saw his clips, and they transfixed us. Very often as a public service, but also because, honestly, we could not help ourselves, we brought them to you. How, we wondered, did a man who could barely speak English wind up with a paying job on television? Was it some kind of weird affirmative action program for the illiterate? We never figured it out. But it was remarkable to see it. Sentence after badly mangled sentence. A bouillabaisse of incomprehensible grammar. You couldn't understand any of it. It was a kind of performance art. A communicator wholly unable to communicate. And then there was the weightlifting. There was nothing wrong with lifting weights or keeping in shape, obviously. But there was always something very wrong with the videos that Chris Cuomo had shot of himself and then put on the internet. Imagine wanting other people to see this.
Sorry, I've been really busy, but I am working out. I mean, let's be honest, you don't get to look like that by nothing. No, I'm kidding.
Let's get a little pre-show pump.
What does it say?
Cuomo prime time. Hashtag let's get after it. 100 pounds, just kind of just work it out. A little bit of light stuff. Yeah. 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 News time.
We were also using that Fred Flintstone dumbbell.
This is multitasking for a real man.
Oh, his poor staff. So yes, we did make fun of Chris Cuomo quite a bit on this show. In fact, pretty relentlessly for the past 5 years. Chris Cuomo was a buffoon. He was also, in the way that buffoons tend to be, incredibly self-righteous and false. Here he is, for example, pretending to emerge from self-imposed quarantine in his basement after recovering from COVID.
We had a huge day today in Casa Cuomo. Take a look at this. All right, here it is. The official re-entry from the basement, cleared by CDC, a little sweaty, just worked out, happens. This is what I've been dreaming of, literally for weeks. This is the dream, just to be back up here doing normal things.
His poor family. He pulled them into it. We learned later the whole thing was fake. Chris Cuomo hadn't quarantined. In fact, he'd been out and about, wandering around Long Island without a mask, yelling at anyone who questioned him. Now, no one else at the time in the media seemed bothered at all by this, but it struck us as a big deal. It was too phony. But his bosses didn't care. Before you knew it, Chris Cuomo was back on television, barking at you for, yes, not wearing a mask.
Put on the damn mask. If you're in California, if you're in Riverside, wear the mask. If you want to avoid situations like this where you live, wear the mask. If we care about doing the right things, I wear a mask for you as much as I wear it for me. I had the disease. You need to wear a damn mask.
Right.
And you have to take care of other people in your community, and it's got to be about us because the help's not going to come from above.
Said the guy who screamed at someone else for pointing out that he was not wearing a mask. Now, at the time, that seemed pretty unforgivable to us. In fact, watching the tape, it still does seem unforgivable. But once again, Chris Cuomo's bosses weren't bothered at all. At CNN, there is no penalty for falseness. The only thing you can't do at CNN, the thing that they will never tolerate, is displeasing the people in charge. That means not simply Jeff Zucker, who runs the company, but the billionaires who run our country. If you cross them, you're done. So this morning, when we saw the Atlantic magazine, we knew it was curtains for Chris Cuomo. The Atlantic is owned by Steve Jobs' widow. It functions as a kind of modern social register, a place for the ruling class to talk to itself. And the Atlantic decided that it was deeply displeased Chris Cuomo had dared to help his brother, the former governor of New York, when he was accused of sexual harassment. Chris Cuomo must go, the Atlantic declared. And then we knew he would. We knew it was over. In the world that Jeff Zucker lives in, the Atlantic makes the rules. Cuomo was done. And that's when, for the first time ever, and very unexpectedly, we started to feel sorry for Chris Cuomo. Helping his brother is not the worst thing Chris Cuomo ever did. In fact, it may have been the best thing he ever did. Not because Andrew Cuomo was a good person. He certainly wasn't a good person. Andrew Cuomo was loathsome. But Andrew Cuomo was Chris Cuomo's brother. And that's what you do with brothers, even the loathsome ones. You help them when they need it. Period. It's called loyalty. At CNN, as at the rest of the media, this is an alien concept. Is there a single person at CNN or any other left-wing network who would risk his job to help his own brother? No. Above all, these people are careerists, ruthless careerists. They would betray anyone to get ahead. If Jeff Zucker told this guy to denounce his own wife on television, do you think he'd hesitate before doing it? Well, of course he wouldn't, not for a second. So when we tell you that the media are corrupt, we don't just mean they're corrupt politically. It is much deeper than that. They don't acknowledge the most important rules in life. Your first obligation is to your family. Your first obligation is not to the state. It's not to a political party. It's not to Jeff Zucker or some creepy billionaireess at the Atlantic magazine. It's not even to your own career. Your most basic obligation is to the people you are related to. When they need your help, no matter who they are, even if they're the governor of a state, even if they're horrible people, you help them anyway, because it's your family. Chris Cuomo may be an idiot, and he is, but he understands that. What a thing to be fired for.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Somebody up at the airport. I'm your older brother, Mike, and I was stepped over.
That's the way Pop wanted it.
It ain't the way I wanted it. I can handle things. I'm smart. Not like everybody says. Like dumb. I'm smart, and I want respect.